Something is happening now silently, but it will touch us all at some point. You may not feel it, you may not see it, but there is a force that has begun to move the pieces, as if the chessboard of life were being rearranged before your eyes. This is not a coincidence nor simple changes in the world. It is a calling, a filter, a mandatory passage through which every soul will have to pass. Those who are not ready will be left behind. And here's the part few dare to say: there's no way to avoid it. It doesn't matter where you are, what you've built, or how much you think you control your destiny. When the architect of reality triggers the test, there are no closed doors that can protect you, no walls that can hide you. The challenge has already been set. Now, the only question is, will you cross it, or will you succumb? There is a specific, almost imperceptible moment when something changes inside and outside of you. It doesn't come with a warning. It doesn't arrive with warning signs. One day, suddenly, situations begin to align in a strange way. People drift away, opportunities disappear, doors that were once open close for no apparent reason. It is at this moment that the test begins, and it doesn't announce itself with trumpets, but with a silence that disturbs the soul. Perhaps you've already felt that weight in the air, that feeling that something is about to happen, even if you don't know what. It's as if reality suddenly starts observing you more closely, analyzing every movement, every choice, every reaction. You become the target of situations that seem to force your essence to reveal itself. It doesn't matter if you're ready or not. The call doesn't wait. When the architect decides it's time, there's no rushing or delaying. You are placed on the testing ground. It may seem unfair, but this is the mechanism that decides who moves forward and who remains trapped in the same cycle. This is where many fail, not for lack of strength, but for not understanding that every obstacle, every loss, and every silence carries a hidden purpose. If you observe carefully, you will notice patterns repeating themselves. Old conflicts resurface, forgotten insecurities reappear. People who represent old wounds cross your path again. This is not bad luck. It is the test taking shape, demanding that you confront what you have avoided for so long. At this point, most try to run away. But running away is not an option. The more you run, the faster the challenge becomes. The only way is to cross over, even if each step seems to drag the weight of the world along. This is where the transformation begins, and only those who understand this can endure. When the test begins, reality becomes a mirror without makeup. It reflects back exactly what you are when no one is watching. It doesn't matter what speech you've learned to repeat or the mask you wear to gain approval. What comes back to you are the choices you make in the dark, when impulse is stronger than intention. This mirror doesn't judge, but it exposes. And exposure hurts, because it dismantles the stories we create to protect ourselves. Perhaps you've become accustomed to automatic responses, to habits that soothe for a few minutes and devastate for months. The mirror reveals these shortcuts, showing the true cost of what seemed harmless. It's uncomfortable to admit that some pains persist because we cling to what is familiar. Ask yourself now, without filter, what within you is begging to be seen, but you insist on avoiding? Honesty with this mirror isn't cruel, it's liberating. When you can hold its gaze, you begin to realize that each fracture in your history contains the seed of your progress. The architect doesn't demand perfection, it demands presence. It demands that you stop negotiating with your own conscience, that you listen again to the discomfort you've learned to silence with distractions. It's natural that, when facing the mirror, the urge arises to defend oneself, to blame the world, family, luck, the past. But the test doesn't reward those who look for culprits. It opens the way for those who take responsibility. The most powerful step is simple and at the same time difficult: to admit, without drama, without excuses, the exact point at which you lost yourself. If you hold your gaze steady long enough, something unexpected happens. The mirror ceases to be a threat and becomes a tool. You begin to distinguish what is true from what is habit, what is love from what is neediness, what is path from what is escape. And when that happens, you feel, even if only for a moment, that the door that seemed locked was never completely closed. It only lacked the right key: courage. The first sign is a slight disharmony that can't be explained by everyday logic. You wake up and realize that something has changed in the texture of your days. People reacting strangely, small setbacks piling up, invitations that don't arrive, messages that don't return. It's as if life is testing, millimeter by millimeter, your ability to remain whole while the predictable falls apart. The second sign is internal. a persistent restlessness that demands a decision. It's not ordinary fear, it's a calling. You know what you need to do. Cut ties that drain you, abandon promises that will never be fulfilled, walk without guarantees. This almost physical impulse, when ignored, turns into existential weariness. When respected, it reorganizes everything around you. Like a tide that cleans the beach after the night, another sign is the return of what you thought you had overcome. Emotional patterns reappear with new masks. The person who provokes your pride emerges in another guise. The temptation to give up disguises itself as realism. Don't be fooled. The test is asking if you truly learned the lesson or just memorized answers. Repetition is not punishment. It's an opportunity to consciously close cycles. Coincidences that seem like nudges also occur. A book falls from the shelf at the exact right moment. A stranger says a phrase you needed to hear. A path that seemed dead suddenly lights up. Many call it luck, but in the context of the test, they are signs of alignment for those who chose to walk despite their fear. If you notice these flashes, write them down. They point the way. Finally, there's the big sign. The clear feeling that you can no longer go back to being who you were. It may hurt, but it's liberating. Something inside you already knows that the price of remaining small is higher than the risk of growing. At that moment, the test ceases to be a threat and becomes a journey. And when you internally commit to that decision, reality, little by little, begins to cooperate. 2025 arrives with a different kind of pressure, as if the riverbanks had narrowed. Time seems compressed. Choices demand quick responses. Comfort zones shrink. It's not chasing destiny. It's collective maturity, demanding that each person abandon their persona and find their own voice. What is loose breaks, what is true strengthens, and what is lukewarm loses ground. This weight isn't meant to crush you, it's meant to purify you. The more you try to hold on to the old, the more life demands emotional interest from you. Relationships sustained by convenience wither, jobs that don't resonate with your truth lose their luster, and goals that were merely vanity become too heavy to carry. There's no more room to expend energy on what doesn't nourish your soul. In 2025, the temptation will be to seek shortcuts, instant promises, noisy places, distractions packaged as solutions. The real test, however, operates in silence. It asks, can you be with yourself without numbing yourself? Can you act firmly when no one applauds you? Can you take care of the simple things every day, even when the world demands spectacle? This year also highlights the difference between movement and agitation. Many people run around everywhere and call it intense life, but they don't get anywhere. The test calls for movement with direction. Small, consistent steps, aligned with what you already know is right. Discreet persistence wins over noisy impulses. It's the well-placed brick that, in the end, supports the entire house. If you accept the necessary friction, you will realize a paradox. Despite the tensions, your peace increases, not because the problems disappear, but because their root deepens. You understand that nothing outside has the power to shake what you have consolidated inside. And in this state, 2025 ceases to be a threat and becomes the year in which you took possession of yourself. Losing your way isn't a single stumble. It's a series of small self-abandonments. The first sign of this is inattention to simple warning signs. You start waking up already exhausted. Accept invitations you know will drain you. Remain silent when you should speak. Speak when you should listen. Your body complains, your intuition warns, life shows consequences, and yet you persist in autopilot. Another issue is the insistence on stories where you have to beg for a place. You try to convince people to see your worth, negotiate crumbs of affection, fight for spaces that don't belong to you. The price? A silent wear and tear that corrodes joy. When this appears, the test is screaming, "You've forgotten yourself, come back." And coming back here means choosing environments where your presence doesn't need justification. Disconnection also reveals itself in promises you make to yourself and don't keep. I'll start tomorrow. One day I'll change. When things calm down, I'll take care of myself. The future becomes a drawer where you keep your courage. The test doesn't punish lateness. It demands commitment. Each small agreement honored, sleeping earlier, taking care of your body, closing cycles, rebuilds the path beneath your feet. There is also the issue of repeated conflicts. Always the same characters, the same lines, the same ending. This is not bad luck. It's the script. As long as you don't change your response, the scene repeats itself. The test invites you to respond differently, with firmness where before there was fear, with silence where before there was justification, with departure where before there was vain hope. Changing your response changes the story. Finally, when you've lost your way, life loses its luster. Nothing satisfies for long, no victory fills the void, no applause is enough. It's emptiness demanding truth. And truth, when accepted, doesn't humiliate. It relieves. It gives you back what is essential and invites you to leave the rest behind. The path reappears when you choose the lightness of being who you are. The first door is fear, that ancient force that tries to keep you small in the name of safety. Fear whispers, don't risk it, don't cut, don't speak. It's not an enemy. It's a guardian that only bows before your presence. When you breathe and decide to act even while trembling, fear recognizes that you have grown. The test doesn't ask for courage without trembling. It asks for courage despite the trembling. The second door is pride, which masquerades as dignity, but is at its core a fragility that needs to be overcome in order to exist. Pride binds you to pointless disputes, makes you prove points that don't matter, drags you onto a stage where everything is vanity. Passing through this door requires humility, not the kind that negates itself, but the kind that knows its worth and therefore doesn't need to fight for it. The third door is control, the compulsion to manage the uncontrollable. You try to anticipate answers, manipulate scenarios, predict every turn. This effort doesn't sustain life, it suffocates. The test here is to trust the step that can be taken now, without guarantees of what will come. It's about letting go of the perfect script to walk the true path. Fear, pride, and control form a triad. When you open one door, the others try to pull you back. You take a courageous step. Pride demands applause. You let go of control. Fear invents catastrophes. The game is to stay breathing, to stay present, to stay true to the decision made, until the three doors close behind you and become history. If you cross those doors, something changes in your posture. It's not a pose, it's the essence. People notice without you saying a word. Life responds with synchronicities. Confidence ceases to be mere talk and becomes a state of being. It is at this point that the test begins to recognize you as someone who can move forward, because you recognized yourself first. There are situations where speaking is a waste of power. You explain, you justify yourself, you try to build bridges over rivers that have already changed course. Silence here is neither escape nor coldness. It is protection. It conserves your energy, prevents you from getting entangled in circular arguments, and allows reality to do the work that no words could do for you. Silence also educates. When you stop insisting where there is no listening, the other person finds the echo of their own emptiness. It's not revenge, it's natural justice. In relationships where you were the one supporting everything, your silence reveals the imbalance. Those who want to stay will organize themselves. Those who don't want to will leave. In both cases, you win. You preserve dignity and make room for something new. There is a silence that heals from within. It's the moment when you turn off the noise, close screens, and retreat to listen to your own life. In this retreat, decisions become clearer, false desires dissolve, and priorities align. The test rewards those who know how to take this pause, because the clarity that emerges from it prevents many setbacks. Silence doesn't mean accepting abuse. On the contrary, sometimes the most powerful response is to leave without a speech, simply with the coherence of your actions. Departing in peace is a message the world understands. You say no with your absence, and that no carries more weight than 1,000 explanations that would be wasted on closed ears. When silence is used well, it transforms into presence. You don't hide, you don't disappear, you don't seek revenge. You uphold your truth without fanfare. And curiously, it is in this quietude that the most difficult doors begin to open slightly, as if life also needed space to reach you. There are cuts that hurt, but save lives. Staying where you wither costs more than any farewell. The test in many cases requires you to end invisible pacts, unspoken promises, loyalties that drag you down, roles you play to maintain the peace of others. Detachment here is an act of intelligence. You choose the truth and accept paying the price of freedom. Letting go isn't about abandoning everything, it's about letting go of what doesn't support your growth. Sometimes it's a conversation you won't have anymore, a time slot you no longer occupy, a place you stop frequenting. Small cuts added together create space, and that space begins to attract what resonates with your new vibration. The emptiness that once frightened you becomes fertile ground. Attachment disguises itself as care, and memory. You think preserving relationships that have already ended is a sign of kindness, but deep down, it's fear of facing your own loneliness. The test calls you to overcome this fear and discover that solitude, when lived well, is not absence. It is presence without distractions. It is land where roots grow inward. By practicing the necessary cuts, you will learn the difference between giving up and saving yourself. Giving up is giving in to exhaustion. Saving yourself is choosing with lucidity. It's not about winning the dispute, but about leaving the game. The architect doesn't measure your strength by how much you can endure. He measures it by your ability to recognize when a cycle has been completed, and when the cut is made respectfully, without humiliation or theatrics, life responds with relief. You notice you breathe better, sleep more lightly, and regain a hunger for the future. The cut hurt, but it gave you back a horizon. It is this horizon that indicates you have passed the phase where many get lost. Relationships are the most sincere laboratory of the test. In times of gain, everyone shows up. In times of purification, only those with roots remain. 2025 sheds light on this filter. People who wanted you for what you offered get tired when you decide to take care of yourself. Those who love you stay, even if they need to rearrange their paths. The test teaches you the difference between companionship and burden. There will be those who try to hold you back through guilt. You've changed. You've become selfish. You're not the same anymore. Accept it. Change is a compliment when the old was your prison. Guilt is the past's last attempt to keep you small. Breathe, be grateful for what was. Move on. Those who are meant for you will meet you ahead with new agreements. The test of relationships also demands that you be a clean mirror. Don't ask for what you don't offer. Don't demand a presence that you yourself don't sustain. Don't promise what you can't deliver. The test calls you to love wholeheartedly, to say what you feel without hurting, to ask for what you need without begging, to leave when dignity demands it without making the other person the villain of your story. You'll notice that as you adjust your relationships, your energy changes. The house becomes quieter, the days become more spacious, and the mind rests. The noise decreases, and it is in this silence that true bonds flourish. They don't depend on theatrical displays. They are nourished by respect, consistency, and simple joy. When the wind changes and you remain steadfast, the right relationships align. Those who arrive, arrive because of their honesty. Those who stay, stay because they too have chosen to grow. And those who leave, leave because they have completed their role in their journey. Honoring each role without attachment allows you to move forward without carrying burdens that aren't yours. Purpose isn't a pretty plaque on the wall or a phrase for a social media bio. It's the way you breathe when you're doing what speaks to your soul. It's the good kind of tiredness that comes when your body has worked on what it loves, not the acidic exhaustion of someone who spent hours feeding an empty piece of paper. Purpose is simple but not shallow. It springs from the encounter between what you know how to do, what the world needs from you, and what keeps your heart alive when no one is watching. Ask yourself here and now, what within you has been demanding expression for years and has been postponed by fear, guilt, comparison? Where does time feel lighter? Where does your presence ignite something in others? Where does your attention grow instead of diminish? Many confuse purpose with the stage. They think it's about being seen, measured, applauded, and when the numbers fluctuate, they believe they've lost their calling. The architect's test is more intimate. It turns off the spotlights and asks if you would continue even without awards, without validation, without an audience. Would you accept studying again, starting smaller, honing your craft with patience, learning from those who know more, practicing in silence while the world rushes by? Would you accept that for a time, your harvest would be only internal, made of consistency, character, and anonymous dedication? Because that's exactly where the path is strengthened. In the corridor where almost everyone gives up because there's no immediate applause. Sometimes, purpose is hidden in acts you consider too small to deserve a name. Organizing a space and restoring order to someone's day. Cooking and calming an entire house. Listening attentively and preventing a heart from breaking. Fixing what seemed lost. Teaching a detail that makes someone else's path less thorny. Purpose is that force that multiplies life around you. Wherever you step, does hope increase or decrease? After a conversation with you, do people breathe easier or leave carrying burdens that aren't theirs? Observe the trail you leave. It holds clues to your calling. And if the trail is still short, don't blame yourself. Lengthen it with one step each day. There will be gray days when everything seems pointless, when the question, "What for?" nudges at your heels. On those days, the test measures your loyalty, not your brilliance. Loyalty is made of discreet gestures, getting up even when you don't want to, keeping your promises to yourself, protecting the schedules that nourish your art, saying no to what steals your energy, studying when no one demands it, resting without guilt so as not to turn your dream into a burden. The gardener knows. The earth looks the same for weeks before bursting into green. The patience of those who water in the dark is the invisible bridge between today and the fruit. When practice and calling embrace, reality begins to cooperate in ways that only those who have walked the path can feel. It's not magic, it's coherence becoming visible. The right people cross your path because now you exude clarity. Aligned invitations arrive because you've learned to say no to what only distracts. Opportunities open up because your consistency has taught the world that it can trust you. And if it hasn't opened up yet, don't label it a failure. Sometimes the architect is just giving you time to become the person capable of sustaining what you asked for. Purpose isn't just what you do, it's primarily what you become while you do it. Time is the teacher who never shouts but always wins. He doesn't rush at anyone's whim and isn't offended when ignored. He simply follows, patiently revealing, with almost merciless honesty, what each one has sown. Active patience is learning the language of this teacher, acting today with wholeness, accepting that there are processes that don't obey our calendar, and trusting that maturity isn't built with shortcuts. It's not about waiting with folded arms. It's about moving steadily without demanding that the fruit be borne by the force of your anxiety. In 2025, the temptation to rush is an overly bright corridor. Comparison has become a silent addiction. You look at the showcase of others' progress and forget that you don't see what's behind the scenes. Your heart races trying to keep pace with algorithms that don't know your story. The test invites you to turn off the noise and recover your own pulse. The time of your body, the time of your learning, the time of your wounds that are still healing. When you respect your own rhythms, life fits back into your chest. What was urgency becomes a step. What was despair becomes attention. Active patience is sustained by simple rituals that seem too small to change a life, and precisely for that reason, almost no one takes them seriously. Waking up a little earlier to take care of the body that carries you. Writing 3 lines about what you feel so as not to be held hostage by what you cannot name. Organizing what is possible today so as not to get lost in what is impossible tomorrow. Reserving blocks of focus for what matters, even if short but untouched. Creating a gentle limit for screens so that your mind can listen to itself again. The basics are not mediocre, they are foundation. And discreet foundations withstand storms that beautiful facades cannot. Time also knows how to heal in ways that haste doesn't. What now seems like a delay may, months from now, reveal itself as protection. The pain that burns today may be tomorrow, the scar that reminds you not to return to what destroys you. There are roots that only take hold in the dark, far from sight, where no one posts, where there is no applause. Trusting during the invisible is a high test, but it is in this trust that you avoid tearing off sprouts out of impatience. Acceptance is not resignation, it is respect for the process that makes you whole. Celebrating the process is making peace with time. Instead of postponing all joy until the day it works out, you spread it along the way. In the chapter written today, even without inspiration, in the genuine conversation you had, even without solutions, in the workout you completed, even without visible results, in the lovingly spoken no that protected you from a costly shortcut. When you learn to rejoice in the journey, time ceases to be an enemy and becomes an ally. It smiles upon those who understand that greatness is the work of conscious repetition, not strokes of luck. And in that smile, the harvest arrives, not as a prize for those who shouted the loudest, but as an answer for those who persevered. There's a moment in the journey when you realize the door was never really on the outside. Every lucid choice, every conscious silence, every necessary cut was, in fact, a turn of the inner lock. Suddenly, what seemed impossible becomes simple, not because it became easy, but because you became whole. The crossing is less about territory and more about identity. At this point, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your presence speaks volumes. Those who saw you before may not understand, but they feel it. You are less reactive, more centered, lighter. The storms continue, but they lose the power to throw you off balance. It's as if your heart has found a home within you, and that home doesn't collapse in the wind. The journey also changes how you see the past. Instead of resentment, you find meaning. What hurt you shaped you. What's gone made room for the new. What held you back protected you from precipices. You stop blaming life and start walking with it. This silent pact creates a peace that doesn't depend on the circumstances. When the door opens from the inside, you begin to serve, not as one who sacrifices themselves to be seen, but as one who overflows because they are full. Your words soothe, your gestures organize, your presence invites. You become a bridge, not out of a desire to command, but out of an ability to support. The test recognizes this state as a sign of transition. And finally, you understand the architect's purpose. It wasn't to punish you, it was to prepare you. It wasn't to take things away from you, it was to give you back to yourself. The journey concludes one stage and inaugurates another. With new challenges, yes, but with a more authentic you to face them. Life goes on, and now you do too. It all comes down to a decision that no one can make for you. It's not just a catchy phrase. It's an intimate commitment. I choose the truth even if it hurts. I choose peace even if it costs. I choose the path, even if nothing guarantees me applause. This choice seals the test. Without it, you go back to spinning in circles. With it, the ground rearranges itself beneath your feet. The seal of choice happens in everyday life. It's saying no to what pulls you back to the old, saying yes to what demands discipline, upholding agreements with yourself when the world invites you to break them. This firmness changes your frequency. People notice, opportunities adjust, even luck seems to learn your name. Nothing mystical, just the consequence of an aligned soul. You might feel apprehensive about making this choice, that's natural. Every true decision involves giving up guarantees. But consider this, you've already come this far, walked through doors, shed weights, learned silence, and rediscovered your purpose. It wasn't in vain. This seal of approval simply confirms what you're already experiencing in practice. It's the clear yes that life was waiting for to guide you forward. From this point on, your relationship with the future changes. Instead of demands, you bring confidence. Instead of control, you bring preparedness. Instead of haste, you bring consistency. You don't need to know how everything will happen to move forward. You just need to know who you chose to be. This who acts as a compass in any territory. If you felt this calling was for you, embrace it now. Take a deep breath and choose the path that honors your conscience. And if you've made it this far with me, I have a subtle invitation for you. Subscribe to the channel to walk this path together and help me recognize who stayed until the end. Write the keyword in the comments. Trial. I want to see how many have decided to seal their own passage today.